How's everyone doing? We are 9 and 4 more. We talk Jags news and other news around the NFL. And the NFL schedule is officially out. Now we're going to go by each week and discussing which we think is the best matchup for that week. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of great matchups this year, Brandon.
Yeah, man, I can't wait for it. Like this, it seems like every year the NFL just gets more like packed, like with contenders and instead of like pretenders. And I think this year we're gonna get a lot of good matchups, man.
No, absolutely. And we're going to start things off week one. And I think we're both going to be in a consensus on this one. But Thursday night, NBC, Bills at Rams. This can be a great matchup. But I think this could potentially be the Super Bowl matchup. This is actually my Super Bowl prediction. I do think it's going to be Bills versus Rams this year. But the interesting thing about that is week one, you're going to versus Super Bowl be two completely different teams. Because I kind of view week one as kind of like a preseason in a sense. I mean, it's a real, it's regular season, but all the stars are finally playing a full game and all that. That's why you always see every year these, bad teams win week one and don't win many other games like the Jags did in 2020. Beat the Colts, didn't win a single game. So I think if it is the Bills and Rams in Super Bowl, I think it would be a completely different matchup. But just to start the NFL season off versus the Bills and Rams, I'm excited about that game.
Yeah, and then you have the whole Von Miller thing with the Rams, and then just I think everybody kind of has this as like the top two teams in like each conference, respectfully. I mean, the AFC is a lot more throw it up, but the Rams are easily the favorites for the NFC, like without question. The Bills definitely they changed a lot of their stuff, man. They probably changed most of their not most of their team, but like out of the big contenders, I would say outside of the Bengals, they're gonna have a lot of new starters out there. You got Von Miller, they drafted James Cook. Gabriel Davis is going to be a more improved role on their offense probably after his performance versus the Chiefs. Or what he had like how many touchdowns did he have?
Four,
Like
I think, and then
four. Yeah, and like tied the record. Like he could possibly be the breakout guy, and they're gonna have Jalen Ramsey out there. They lost Darius. Rams lost a lot of players too, so they're gonna have to find guys to fill that role. So you can maybe see this as a game for the Bills to win. I feel like just because of that. I feel like the Bills got better. The Rams maybe took a step back, but you still have Aaron Donald, Matt Stafford. They still got Cooper Kupp. They got Allen Robinson. I almost forgot about that, so I just said that. So this really could be the Super Bowl, man. We could see this. What was Super Bowl always like February, early February? We could see the first game of the year, last game of the year could be the same two teams. So that's something to look forward to, and it'd be really cool to go back and be like how the teams evolved throughout the year.
No, absolutely, it's definitely gonna be interesting. So for week two, what is your favorite matchup?
I mean, it would be cool. To be honest, there's not a lot of games this one that really like intrigue me, but definitely the Chargers and the Chiefs for Thursday Night Football again, with also it being on Amazon Prime.
The debut,
so we're gonna get what I forgot who's like Kirk Herbstreit,
Al Michaels.
Al Michaels. I think is Tony Gonzalez. Now he just did the thing for it, but
you might even have Kay Adams, who was with NFL Network. Good morning. Football. She actually just left them, and apparently there's a rumor that she's going to be hosting the Amazon Prime pregame show now.
Oh, well, I think she actually was working for the Chiefs too last year.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. That's just that's probably the two contenders in this division. So that's always a good game. Having on Amazon Prime be the first game to be on there for the year, and with a whole new crew and just those two games, that's going to be a powerhouse scoring game. So that's got to be the week two matchup I think everybody's going to watch.
No, absolutely. And Amazon, they did that on purpose, pick a great matchup for their debut.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you look at the other games during the week, probably the second best option, in my opinion, is probably Bengals Cowboys.
Yeah, that was the other one I had on my list, possibly.
Maybe Titans Bills, depending on, how the Titans are looking. But I just don't, view them right now as a powerhouse of how they were last year. I still think the Titans are gonna be, pretty decent and all that, but losing AJ Brown, I think definitely can hurt the Titans. But Chargers Chiefs, definitely agree with that.
Yeah, that's a solid lock in week two. And like you said, Amazon planned this probably with the NFL. They're like, make our game the best game of the week, and they easily did that.
And I know when we get later on in the schedule we'll talk about, there's gonna be a lot of big games. Like I think the Bills and Chiefs have a CBS game, and a lot of people are saying, how come that's not a Sunday night or Monday night? But CBS gets to pick one game that can never be flexed. They get one game that they have, same thing with Fox and all that. So if you ever do see these games that they're like, why aren't they prime times? Because every station can hold one game that cannot be flexed.
You're gonna get the Chiefs on a lot of them.
Yep, exactly. So week three, this is kind of a tough one. I was kind of going, back and forth what I thought was gonna be the best matchup. And for me, I ended up going with the Green Bay Packers versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The reason I say this is that this could be the last time we ever do see potentially Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers. And I think, I mean, it's kind of, it could be a historic moment. Last time they ever play each other. Packers obviously know it's gonna be interesting how they are without Devontae Adams. They obviously still have Aaron Jones. They have Alan Lazard. They still have other weapons as well that they did draft. And then obviously Tampa Bay, they get back Tom Brady who comes out of retirement, and they should be the same old Bucks, but they don't have Rob Gronkowski, so we'll see how they do this year. But I think overall, that's my my favorite matchup of week 3.
Yeah, this is another really crappy week. Not gonna lie, man. Like, we got freaking Texans and Bears on this list. We got Falcons and Seahawks, Cowboys, Giants, 49ers. Like, it's just everywhere you look at. I mean, the NFL is, it's a beast. You never really know who's gonna win. We know that with sports betting, where like you're like, oh, this is a lock, and it comes out and like the other team just completely blows out. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's easily Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady is always going to be the best game of the week. Doesn't matter who each one is throwing to, that they're always going to be exciting. That's always going to be a good game. And compared to the rest of the schedule, maybe the Rams and Cardinals, because that's kind of, that's going to, the Cardinals have that on their board week 3 because of that blowout that happened to them in the playoffs where they just looked like kindergartners out there. Yeah. And they want to go out there and prove themselves. So I feel like the Cardinals are going to come out really strong, especially home. So that could possibly be maybe like 1B, I feel like. But definitely you got Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. How are you going to not pick that?
I could also see Bills, Dolphins, depending on how Tua is playing and all that. That's is to see as well, especially with
Tyreek Hill loves playing the Bills,
right? All right, so we're both on a consensus on that one. It seems like week 4. Who do you have as your favorite game of the week?
I'll be biased here. My 2 favorite teams, Jags, Eagles, baby. Like, what, that might not be everybody's favorite thing, but you got Doug Peterson. You got some storyline there with the Eagles. He's going to want to go in there in Philly and just show Howie and everybody, and just show them like, hey, you messed up. You should have kept me, because that was a whole drama with him, like the whole Wentz and Jalen Hurts kind of situation. So there's some bona fide drama and storyline there for that game. I also think it'll be a really good game. I think the Jags actually favor very well versus the Eagles. The Eagles have a very good offensive line and defensive line, and they're kind of so everywhere else besides their run game. And Jaguars built this defense to be a very good run stopping team. And they also added a lot of speedy guys on the outside, and the Eagles secondary really isn't that great. So the Eagles got young linebackers, Jaguars got young linebackers. I think these two teams are actually very similar in how they're going to try to approach this year. And I think that could actually be a really good game. Maybe it's not the favorite game for everybody. For me personally, though, when you got my 2 favorite teams on there and they're facing each other, they only do this once every 4 years, I'm always going to want to watch that one.
No, yeah. I was going to say this is my favorite one as well, but I'm going to go ahead and be a little different. So we are not on the same consensus for every week. I'm actually going to go with the Broncos and Raiders. Obviously, the first time these two meet up this season so far, and as well as you got Devontae Adams now on the Raiders, Russell Wilson on the Broncos. Divisional game. I'm definitely excited to see how this goes. And as well as the Raiders, that defense got even better with the addition of Chandler Jones. So I'm excited for that one. I mean, you even have the Chiefs and Bucks, a rematch from the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
This is a very good week. You got Titans and Colts divisional game. You got Dolphins and Bengals. You got
Rams, 49ers,
Cowboys, Bills, Ravens, Rams. This is week 4. Week 2 and week 3 may not be living up to like overall expectations, just how the big games. Week 4 is stacked with really good, very competitive games. I feel like, again, we'll see what happens. Injuries happen, weird things happen, things don't mesh with the offenses or defenses. So these good teams could be bad, these bad teams could be good. We're not sure, but from on paper, this looks like a very good week of football.
No, absolutely. And then as well as like how I said the previous week, if Tua is playing well, you got Tua at Bengals, the Dolphins at Bengals on Thursday night. So definitely week 4 is an exciting week of football.
Every Thursday night game, I almost want to pick as the best game of the week. Like, remember Thursday night used to be like Jets, Lions, Jags, Titans. It used to be like the throwaway game that no one wanted to watch, but they made everybody watch. They're scrapping that. Thursday night football this year is basically almost the best matchup of each week.
Amazon has a big deal with the NFL, spending a lot of money, so you're going to see big matchups. Yeah. So it's definitely going to be interesting with that. But every week is great football, in my opinion, when it's football season.
Oh, yeah. once the season starts, like we're dying for. I mean, we're literally just everybody on Twitter is
Give me
just like,
Jags Jets for the next 2 months every week, and I will enjoy it.
exactly. And we are stuck with the I haven't even watched maybe a total of 10 minutes of that USFL. And it just looks, there's nothing that compares to the level that the NFL is. Even like college football is great. But when you just watch the NFL and you see like the strategy and you see like the speed of the guys, the amazing plays that they do, and then you watch the USFL, it is night and day, man. Like you see why it's so hard to make it in that league. And that's why we're all craving for it. Like it's just, we want it all the time. And that's what they're doing. I mean, they're adding by, who knows, Tyler, by the time our grandkids are old enough, it will probably be like a 25-week season.
Yeah, who knows?
Every team will have 2 teams because they're all just dead, and like they'll be backups, and like we'll see, but it's just gonna keep growing.
Yeah, NFL is just on a whole nother level. I mean, college, it's fun to watch and all that. The atmosphere, I know, like tailgating, that's all fun, but nothing beats the play of the NFL. I mean, in college, when you're a good team versus a bad team, you're a good team versus a bad team. In the NFL, it don't matter what your record is.
Every week there's a massive upset that you're like, I didn't see that coming.
Yep, exactly. So let's go to week 5. Who do you have as your favorite matchup, or the matchup you're looking forward to the most?
I like the Bengals and Ravens on, what is this? Is this Sunday Night Football? Yep. 8:20. So that's going to be a really good game. Divisional opponents, both 2 really good teams. These games matter for these 2 teams because this is playoff implications. The AFC is so stacked. The divisions are all 3 to 4
crucial,
deep,
man,
except for the AFC South. But all the other 3 are just literally, you can almost pick anyone, and they could possibly make a playoff. You can make it a thing for them. So these games are really, really crucial when you're facing in-division opponents, especially like the Ravens and Bengals, who we feel like will be the top 2 in the AFC North this year. But we could see a conference have 3 teams. We could see a conference have 4 teams. Like nothing is thrown out this year. You have to win the division to guarantee your spot in the playoffs, not be in the wild card. And these are the games that matter. It's only week 5, but you could look back at the end of this season and be like, week 5 is what did it for them. So I think this is going to be a really good game, Sunday Night Football, Bengals and Ravens.
No, I agree. That's my favorite matchup. Looking forward to. I could also go.
You got to stop agreeing, Tyler. Why didn't you choose the Steelers and Bills, and we have a Mitch Trubisky revenge game for the?
Yeah, I should have.
One year he was there.
I should have, or maybe even Titans Washington. Who doesn't want to watch that one?
Right.
But you're talking about the Bengals and Ravens. Should be a great matchup. Lamar Jackson is going to be interesting to see how the Ravens bounce back. I mean, obviously, I think they went 8-9 last year. They went on like a 4 or 5 game losing streak. Due to the fact the whole team was injured, Lamar Jackson missed half the last 6 games, and I think if that team was healthy, they would have made the playoffs.
100%. They were the most. Every year is a team that catches the injury bug. The 2020 team was the 49ers. The last year was the Ravens. The 2021, like even before the season started, they lose like 5 running backs pretty much, signing like even the guys that they brought in, Murray, Bell, they didn't even work out.
Then they lost Marcus Peters. They lost a lot of their secondary. Lamar Jackson gets hurt, and they still went 8-9.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, because Harbaugh's that good of a coach, and they have that good of players. Their backup quarterback's really good too. He's like a running quarterback too. And was it Huntley? He didn't get picked up by anybody. He came back with the Ravens, which is good for them. But you can see these 2 teams are easily going to be fighting for that number 1 spot.
No, yeah, absolutely. So definitely going to be one of the better matchups for the AFC North in the season. So let's go into week 6 and see what we got going on there. And week 6, the game that catches my eye, I think is going to catch everyone's eye. 4:25 CBS, Bills Chiefs. I mean, It's a playoff rematch. I think it would not shock me at all if this is the AFC Championship. Honestly, when you talk about the Bills, Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, Bengals, Ravens, they can all be in talks for being the AFC Championship game this year. There's so many good AFC teams, but the Bills and Chiefs definitely stand out, and I'm excited for that rematch to see how Josh Allen and the Bills can handle the Chiefs. Can Gabe Davis have another phenomenal game against the Chiefs, or can the Chiefs actually stop Josh Allen there? No, absolutely. But the other matchup I'm excited. Monday night, Chargers Broncos, Russell Wilson versus Justin Herbert. That's going to be a shootout. 2 good offenses, I think, in my opinion, as well as 2 good defenses. Obviously, when you talk about the Chargers, Broncos, Raiders, I'm not going to bring the Chiefs in this, but those 3 teams, they all probably going to have good defenses, but they're still going to give up points because they're going against high-powered offenses. Yeah. So it's going to be That's gonna be a great matchup. I mean, I know you probably might even pick the Cowboys Eagles because that's
I
obviously a
was gonna
big
I was gonna
rivalry.
pick that one. That's
So
the greatest rivalry in all of football, in my opinion, right there.
fans hate each other. I know the Eagles and Cowboys, they despise each other.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I have family members who are Cowboys. I have friends now that are Cowboys fans, and there's no love that day. Whenever these two teams play, it is pretty much just it's bragging rights. Like the second one team wins, the text messages start flowing, which side that won.
Yeah.
So that's always a game I always mark on the calendar.
And,
Again,
and it's
personal bias, but it's still going to be a good game.
and it seems like this happen. It doesn't happen every year, but it seems most of the time. Obviously, you're going to know more about this than me, but it seems like the Cowboys always win in Philly. Philly always wins in Dallas for the most part.
That's it. You just said the NFC East. That's what they do. The teams do not win their home games. It doesn't make any sense, especially the Eagles. You are right about it. Like Eagles can go into the Giants, kill them. 2 weeks later, the same teams, the Giants will come in the Eagles, and the Eagles will struggle like they're like playing gods. It makes no sense, especially with the Eagles. Every year, there's always a disappointment where they're going to lose a home game where they just killed the Commanders or Dallas or New York. They're always going to kill them on the road, and at home, it's like a struggle for some reason. That's the entire NFC East. It makes no sense.
Yeah, that's but it brings exciting football though. You never know.
It makes for a good game. Not if you're the home team rooting for the Eagles and the Cowboys, but I think there's gonna be two very good teams, two very different teams. I think the Cowboys are starting to move to an air raid. They're kind of getting away from Ezekiel Elliott using Tony Pollard, and I think it's just going to be a good matchup.
I agree. So let's go on to week 7. When I first look at week 7, it's just I don't really know what would be the best matchup here. I mean, obviously you got the Browns Ravens. Could that potentially be the best matchup?
It probably is just because Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson. You always want to look for like the best quarterback battle, and that's what it is, man. Because this is one of those dud weeks. I mean, Monday night is the Bears Patriots. Talk about just like that might be a Monday night. I don't watch football. I'll have it on, but man, that is a boring Monday night football. Sunday night football is the Steelers Dolphins, which is kind of like not interesting, I feel like. So, but Browns Ravens probably is the best game that week.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of going back to week 2 and 3. Hard to decide, not the greatest matchups, but still enjoy the week of football. By this time, we don't know. The Saints could somehow be 6-0, and the same thing with the Cardinals.
They're adding people on the Saints. That actually could be, like I said, Thursday night they're packing it. That actually could be a decent game if their quarterbacks are playing at least decent for the Saints.
No, absolutely. So week 8, we're getting there, man. We're getting there to almost halfway. The game obviously that stands out to me. There's a few of them. I like the Packers Bills. Aaron Rodgers versus Josh Allen in Buffalo should be a fantastic showdown. I assume as of right now the Bills will probably be favored, but just depends on obviously how the Packers are playing at the moment. And I guess the other one that I think that could be sneaky good would be the Ravens Bucks. Lamar Jackson versus Tom Brady down in Tampa Bay. Thursday night football once again. Yep. Amazon Prime getting these great matchups, unlike previous years. 2 years ago, even last year, this game would have been the Panthers Falcons, and
right,
exactly what it would have been. But Ravens Bucks catch my eye, as well as the Packers Bills are probably my 2 favorite matchups for this week.
Probably an underrated. I don't know why it sounds interesting. The Cardinals Vikings. I don't know why. I feel like those are 2 very even teams, and I feel like Vikings at home helps. You got Patrick Peterson over there now. Kirk Cousins is starting to come near the end of his career. You got Dalvin Cook over there. You got Justin Jefferson versus DeAndre Hopkins will be able to play at this time because I think it's only a 6 week or is it 8? So DeAndre Hopkins will be back healthy with Kyler Murray. We'll see what the Cardinals are doing. I think that could actually be a very underrated game. That could be a pretty high scoring game as well, which anytime it's a high scoring game, it's pretty good. I don't see that one being lopsided. So I think that could be an underrated if you're looking for maybe like a diamond in the rough this week. I don't know why that one just intrigues me when I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that as well as being a great game. I'm a big fan of the Vikings as well. Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, that Justin Jefferson, the whole offense is stacked. Defensively, I think they definitely got better, especially through the draft. So Vikings are definitely be a team I think a lot of people won't talk about beginning of the year, but I think when they get towards the end, it's gonna be a sneaky good team, maybe like a 9-8 team.
Yeah, depending on how the season goes for them and how the Packers are doing with losing Devontae Adams, maybe we see an upset there. I wouldn't be against it, but I don't think it's going to happen. But if there was a team in the NFC North, obviously to upset the Packers, it would be the Vikings. Again, don't see it happening, but we've seen weirder things. And the Packers are they're not mailing it in, but when you get rid of Devontae Adams, Scantling, like they're just getting rid of everyone on their offense, but you kept Aaron Rodgers and I don't know if he's happy or not. It could be a mess up there. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. So week 9, and when I'm looking at week 9, there's one game right now that has my Rams versus Bucks, potentially the NFC Championship game here. Obviously, that Rams-Bucks playoff game last year was crazy, especially how the Bucks almost came back in a 1 thanks to the K-Makers, 3 or 4 fumbles. But I think for this week, not a lot of, big intriguing matchups, maybe the Titans, Chiefs, but I'm definitely going to go with the Rams and Bucks.
Yeah, I would say that this is probably the easy pick for this one. There's a couple of divisional games, but then you got Chargers, Falcons, Panthers, Bengals, Bills, Jets, not really very interesting games. So when you got the NFC conference finals right there on week 9, that's got to be the game to watch. And it is week 9 too. So we're going to see injuries happening. We're going to finally understand what teams are really good, which teams are not good. And we have a pretty good feeling the Rams and Bucks will still be pretty good. They both could be 8-1 at this point, and I wouldn't be surprised. So you have 2 8-1 teams against each other, Tom Brady, Matt Stafford. That would be a good game.
No, absolutely. It's definitely going to be an exciting matchup to watch. Week 10, hey, look, Thursday night, Falcons, Panthers, what I was talking about. I feel like, all right, so now they got all the good games. Now they're going to slowly start putting in the not so good Thursday night games. Since they got you attached, you can't leave now.
Exactly.
But I think there's few of them that, kind of have my eye here. Chargers, 49ers, Cardinals, Rams, maybe even the Cowboys. I'm going to say Cowboys, Packers, obviously. I know their head coach going back to Green Bay and all that for all the years and success he had there with Aaron Rodgers. I think that's probably the most intriguing matchup, as well as the one that has the biggest storyline for this week.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, going to watch the Jags. We're going to be at that game with the Chiefs, so that's going to be a game that we're going to be looking out for. It's going to have a good time. Hopefully, see other Jags fans there representing Kansas City. We'll have a good time, but definitely probably when we get back home, wherever we're staying in Kansas City, that Packers-Cowboys game will probably be the one that we're going to choose to put on for that exact reason.
Yep. All right, so week 11. All right, so Thursday night, Titans-Packers, not a bad matchup at all.
Kind of coming back.
What's that?
I said they're kind of coming back. They had that.
Oh, yeah, they had to put that one matchup in and be like, all right, so now we have to come back. Right. Exactly. I think the Eagles-Colts could be a very good matchup this week as well. But yeah, some divisional games: Raiders, Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers. I think they actually had the same matchup maybe at the end of week 18. But right here, this could be crucial right here. How you talked about earlier of when you look at the end of the season, this is the game that if you would have won, you would have made the playoffs or would have won a division. So I'm not really going to pick a game this week. I'm just going to say the Raiders, Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, the AFC West showdown for this week.
I kind of like the Browns and Bills, depending on how Deshaun Watson's playing through the year. So obviously we don't know. We assume Deshaun Watson's going to be Deshaun Watson, but you never know, taking everything off, all the mental stress he's probably been going through the last couple of years and going to a new team and things like that, and only adding Amari Cooper, not really adding too many weapons for him. So we'll see how that game goes. But that could be, again, 2 AFC favorites to go on to the Super Bowl this year. So, but yeah, like you said, a lot of divisional games. These are the games that make or break your season. So those obviously could be the ones to watch. But the Browns, Bills, not necessarily a divisional matchup, but could possibly lead to AFC playoff potential.
No, absolutely. So week 2, this is Thanksgiving week. Not a lot of big Thanksgiving games. Oh, week 12. Sorry. Week 12. What did I say? Week 8?
There's a 2 in there.
Did I say week 8?
You said week 2.
Oh.
I was like, we're way past week 2, but
yeah, week 12, Thanksgiving week. The matchup's not the best. Obviously, the Bills, Lions, Giants, Cowboys, Patriots, Vikings. Probably the best Thursday game. It's probably, in my opinion, the Patriots, Vikings as a whole. But obviously, I'm going to enjoy watching the Bills and Lions because I think that could actually be a low-key, pretty good game depending on how well the Lions put up a fight.
Yeah, this is the worst Turkey Day lineup they've ever put out, in my opinion. This is a very good Thanksgiving to take a nap.
We all blowouts on Thursday.
Yeah, the Vikings, like you said, the Vikings Patriots, we can maybe see what's going to happen. But it's just there's no interest in any of these games. Like I don't know what usually like at least the Thursday night game for Turkey Day is like a very good game. Usually the Packers or someone or
Yep.
the Saints are usually good. This is just boring. I'll watch it obviously, but it may be a one eye closed, one eye open after eating all the turkey.
And then all of a
kind
sudden you hear a big play,
situation.
so you wake up really quick and you're like, all right, what just happened?
Right? So everybody's yelling in the room. We're like, I saw it. But we could have the Rams Chiefs possible Super Bowl kind of situation again going back. So that's probably the game of the week in my opinion. Fall asleep on Turkey Day, get rested for that game coming on. Was that Sunday afternoon?
No, I agree 100%. Definitely probably the best matchup for week 12. But let's go ahead and go on to week 13. All right, so when we're looking at week 13, what is the best matchup that you think stands out?
Honestly, there's a lot of good games this week. Maybe
Yeah.
not necessarily like quality football games, but there's a lot of
Chiefs,
storylines.
Bengals, Chargers, Raiders. I mean, there's a lot.
I mean, you can literally go every game. Bills, Patriots. You got the whole thing with the divisional. The Bills completely killed the Patriots in the playoffs. Bill Belichick's going to want to get that. Packers, Bears. Doesn't matter what team has what players out there. That's always a nail biter. It's in Chicago in December. It's going to be cold. You got, what was it? Titans, Eagles. You got freaking, there's some matchups there. That's going to be a running heavy game. Probably the two best running teams in the NFL last year going at it. You got Browns, Texans with Deshaun Watson, Houston situation, Dolphins, 49ers with their coach going to the Dolphins. You got Trey Lance versus Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo. We'll see how that quarterback thing handles. And we don't know what it could be like in week 13. Chargers, Raiders, Chiefs, Bengals, Colts, Cowboys, Saints, Bucks. Saints always play the Bucks good. This is probably one of the best, maybe not, the most stacked powerhouse games, but this is the storyline week. There is like every single game has some kind of storyline in which these teams are connected facing each other. No, so I think that is very interesting.
Absolutely. Favorite matchup for me though, still Chiefs Bengals AFC Championship rematch.
Yeah, that's going to be just points on points.
Oh, absolutely. But like you just said, there's a lot of good, solid matchups this week.
Yeah, I think if I personally had to choose two, the Dolphins 49ers is very intriguing just because of the quarterback situations for the teams, the coaching situations, how both teams are building kind of situation. I feel like Dolphins 49ers, we'll see what it looks like because December is always different than what you think is going to happen in May. But to me, that game is interesting to me to keep an eye on, depending on how the situation goes throughout the year.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. When we go to week 14, we're back at it Thursday night with some great matchups. Raiders, Rams. This right here potentially could be a Super Bowl preview. You don't know, but Amazon Prime once again gets another great matchup. Another good one right here, I think, is the Ravens Steelers. Even though the Steelers quarterback situation obviously is Kenny Pickett the starter, still that's a very big rivalry. They usually have very good games. And then as well, Dolphins Chargers, I think could be a very good matchup as well. So I think once again, I don't think you have, besides the Raiders Rams game, I don't think you have a lot of, big games that stand out, but a lot of solid matchups here, like the Browns, Bengals, Vikings, Lions could be low key pretty good.
Yeah, there's gonna be some hard, even the crappy game, Panthers, Seahawks. I don't know who's gonna win that game.
Yeah,
like two bad teams that, in my opinion, are going to be in the top 5 again, like for picks next year. But hey, you get two bad teams facing each other, could make a good game.
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly how it works.
If you're looking at this, maybe the worst game is the Texans Cowboys, but even that has a storyline with being the two Texans.
That's a big Texas battle right there.
It's got to be a rivalry kind of situation that they got going on. I mean, obviously the Cowboys probably winning the rivalry game in that instance, but that's still pretty decent game. I don't really see a bad game on this week either. I think it's all these are intriguing in some way.
No, absolutely. I agree 100%. NFL's done a really good job with the schedule this year. Even if there's not a big game that week, they did a good job of putting together pretty good storylines or just solid matchups that could go either way. And I think they're trying to have fantastic weeks of football every single week, just not, where no one wants to watch a game.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Week 15, Thursday night divisional game, 49ers Seahawks. Obviously, any divisional game I think is intriguing just because you need to win your divisional games. That's how you get to the postseason. I guess maybe for me, honestly, probably Bucks Bengals. That's a very good matchup right there, I think. especially, with Tom Brady versus Joe Burrow, the young buck versus, the GOAT.
The GOAT.
I mean, I don't think we haven't seen that one yet. So that's the, first time right here in the making.
Right.
So let's see. Maybe we have the future GOAT right here. We don't know. Possibly, probably not. But Joe Burrow's still gonna be a great quarterback in this league for a very long time. So that's obviously gonna be a big game. Cardinals Broncos could be a good one as well. But you have some games that are not scheduled yet. It's getting towards the end of the season, of where it could either be played on a Saturday or Sunday. They usually put that out like a few weeks before the game's supposed to be played. But I think a game that could actually be very good would be the Colts Vikings, Jonathan Taylor versus Dalvin Cook. Obviously, a lot of matchups more so about quarterback battles, but this right here is going to be a running back battle right there.
Oh yeah, arguably two of the top four running backs in the league going at it against each other. Hopefully they're both healthy at that point. Brutal season, week 15. Some of these matchups that were on paper, they're like, oh, these can be really good. Hopefully they stay that way. I don't want injuries on literally anyone. Obviously the Colts not going to be that guy. I'd rather have everybody stay healthy than, be like, oh, I'm not going to say, oh, I hope Jonathan Taylor tears ACL so we don't have to face him win. Like I would want to beat the Colts with Jonathan Taylor, make Jim Irsay even more depressed. But to me, a very good storyline, a very good game, I think, is going to be the Sunday Night Football, Patriots Raiders. Got Josh McDaniels versus Bill Belichick. The assistants never do well against Bill Belichick. So we'll see how this goes. The Raiders have the better team. Patriots have the better coach. So we're really going to see on that. It's a primetime game. It's in Vegas. That's going to be probably, in my opinion, the best game of the week going into week 15. And it's probably going to have playoff implications. Patriots are always in it. The Raiders are going to be fighting for their lives to be good in their division. So we're going to see what happens there.
Absolutely. That's definitely going to be a great matchup to watch. Now we head on to week 16, Thursday Night Football, the best matchup of the week. Our Jaguars versus the Jets. Honestly, low-key could be a pretty good one. Once again, Trevor Lawrence versus Zach Wilson. Both teams got significantly better in the offseason and in the draft. So two completely different teams from last year, in my opinion, but still definitely will not be the best game of the week. You never know. We could be going in here with a winning record. Same thing with the Jets. You just don't know, but probably highly unlikely in that situation. But Bengals versus Patriots, I think it's a good one to watch. Joe Burrow versus Mac Jones, as well as, Joe Burrow versus Bill Belichick. But right here, I think you might be bringing it up potentially, with Eagles Cowboys on Christmas Eve. Or, you look at the Sunday, December 25th games for Christmas Day, and right here, Broncos versus Rams. That right there could be a good one.
Packers, Bengals, Bucks, Cardinals. Very good Christmas Day. It's my birthday also on Christmas. So it's going to be a good day for me. I get presents, I get my birthday, and then thank God it's not like Turkey Day. This is so much better than the Turkey Day lineup. This Christmas Day lineup.
Actually, three good games, in my opinion.
It's all good games. There is not one. I would watch every single one of these games, and I probably will. So my wife that's the one day I get the whole year that she can't complain about me watching too much football, is Christmas Day. So I'm glad this is the 3 games.
Absolutely.
But I want to piggyback on the Jags Jets. I actually think this could be a very good game for everything that you mentioned. 2 young quarterbacks. They're building teams around them. You got 2 new organizations effectively. The Jets are only in their second year. They haven't even started their second year. You got Balky's here second year. You got Doug Peterson coming in. I think we got the better quarterback. Obviously, I've watched the film on the last two guys, and I think Trevor Lawrence is just going to be so much better than Zach Wilson. I think Zach Wilson needs pieces too, because Jets had very similar issues with wide receivers last year. A lot of drops, a lot of not getting open, him having to hold on to the ball, and it's kind of pissed off we lost to them last year. And that whole stupid Zach Wilson running with Rudy Ford not tackle, and it looked bad. And I think this is the rematch game that I think the Jags are going to destroy the Jets. I really do. I think the Jets, I like what they did overall, but I like Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence versus Robert Saleh and Zach Wilson overall. I think that will be the matchup. And I think the Jags, I get Doug wasn't here, but I get a lot of the players that lost to the Jets probably will not be on this roster coming to, but there's still going to be a few of them. I think there's going to be a little bit of bad blood. And I think the Jags are going to want to go in New York and just demolish them. Hopefully it's not snowing, because that may be the one thing that keeps us from winning that game, is if it's snowing and you have the Jaguars going into snow.
No, absolutely. But we don't play on Christmas Eve. We don't play on Christmas Day. It's actually, honestly, probably a better thing, especially, if we're spending time with family. If we lose, I don't want to be pissed off during the holidays.
Right. I'm
Uh,
glad this isn't the Christmas game, like the first game, like the 1 o'clock. I'm gonna get killed by the Jets, and then I'm just pissed off for the rest of Christmas birthday of the year. Like, so it is good that it's Thursday.
absolutely. So let's go to week 17. We have 2 more weeks. So week 17, week 18 left over. Week 17, we're getting down right here. A few weeks to playoffs. Thursday night, I believe this is the last Thursday game of the regular season.
Yeah.
Cowboys Titans. It's not a terrible matchup, but you got Broncos Chiefs. What else you got here? Oh, Monday night. This could be right here, probably the matchup right here. Bills Bengals AFC Championship preview potentially.
I'd literally see that in a month from this game, for the whoever goes to the Super Bowl easily.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's gonna be a great matchup right there. Monday Night Football, Bills at the Bengals. That's a game you can see going either way. Even the Sunday night Rams Chargers.
LA versus LA.
Yeah, I mean,
It would be interesting how that stadium. I know I get the Chargers are technically home, but like it's LA. No one really goes to the games in LA.
it's not like Giants Jets where whoever's home is gonna have the more fans. It's not like that. This is just
right. We could literally be the home team for the Chargers, but there's more Rams fans. But then even the Rams had that problem with like there was more like when the 49ers came into LA to face the Rams, it was a 49ers game, Cowboys too. So it would be very interesting how the fan base shows up for this game. I'm like, it could be the emptiest we see SoFi. I'm not going to lie. Like, because there's no away team to fill the rest of the seats. You know what I mean?
So I think obviously they're gonna make a big deal out of it when it comes to like, celebrities and all that, just because LA.
There's gonna be celebrities everywhere in those box seats. But I think they're not even gonna try to show the upper level. Like, I think they're just maybe upgrade everyone to sit down below for the cameras, because even during the Super Bowl, there wasn't really even that many people at the parade. Like, even like I was listening to like podcasts that doesn't have to do with sports, but like they went to LA for the Super Bowl. And literally, like, it was Conan O'Brien. My wife's a big Conan O'Brien fan. We were listening to a podcast when we were traveling one time, and it was in LA he was with Marshawn Lynch, and he was like, "Marshawn, this is so crazy. I can literally walk outside, and the first person I ask who's in the Super Bowl, and that person probably will not know the Rams are in the Super Bowl." And he's like, in freaking Cincinnati, he's like giving days off of work and school for like their people and like making a big deal. And he's like, out here in LA, you wouldn't even know the Super Bowl's happening, kind of situation. So that's the LA vibe. So it's going to be a good game. That's the one thing about this. This is one of the better games, I think, of the year. Playoff potential, talking a little second to last week. But man, I'm interested to see how that stadium's going to look. Just because of that reason, I'm probably going too much of a rant on it, but I just find that stuff very interesting.
Hey, it's definitely going to be it's going to be interesting, obviously, how the fan situation going to work out, who's going to have more Chargers, Rams, as well as overall should be a good matchup.
Yeah, you got arguably that could also be the Super Bowl matchup. Like, you literally any team with Rams and AFC West team is arguably a Super Bowl matchup.
No, I agree 100%. So week 18, the final week of the regular season, as you know, the tradition is where it's been going on for like 8 to 10 years, where it's always divisional games. And I really do enjoy that, because that's, maybe it's a divisional game. Winner goes to playoffs, like the last year, Chargers, Raiders, winner goes, losers out. None of the dates or times are set, because some games are going to be Saturday, some are going to be Sunday, one will be Sunday night. But I actually do enjoy that as well. I'm not putting the time out right now, because they do like the 1 o'clock games are usually
play the ones that is going to have implications at the end.
Yeah, so they like the later games, the Sunday night, the Saturday games, but the 1 o'clock games are games they just, for example, Jags, Titans, if Jags are out of it, there's no point in putting that game, then.
Well, unless the Titans, especially the Titans are obviously going to win it, but if the Titans and the Colts are, the same. It'd be really funny if the Jags and Texans win this week, by the way. And the Colts and the Titans both lose, and then it's like a weird situation happens, which I could see happening this year. I think you can make an argument for any AFC South team to even win this. I think you could. It's a long shot to say the Jags and the Texans, but you couldn't tell me that can't happen. I also feel like this is easily in the best conference, the worst division, and anything could happen.
No, absolutely. And when you look at week 18, there's a few games that really stick out that could potentially be games that are deciding playoff implications or for the division. Ravens at Bengals. You also got Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders, maybe even the Cardinals, 49ers. I think those games definitely all have playoff potential implications, as well as, is someone from this game going to win a division? there's at least 5 solid games there. And I think week 18 is going to be a blast.
Yeah. And like you said, the NFL is getting, I feel like they're getting smarter every year. Like we used to, like a couple of years ago, the last week of football was the most boring week of football. Like no one really cared, even for mainly fantasy ends, always those second to last week because of that reason. They may change fantasy rules if this keeps going forward, because you can't tell me the Chiefs versus the Raiders, that's not going to have some kind of implication to, even if the Chiefs clinch something, they're probably not clinching like the number 1 seed in week 17 with the way that this schedule is going. We could see meaningful football in basically every single one of these games. Like we don't know what could happen. The Lions beat the Packers last year, or was it close? I think it was close. They didn't actually win it, but they went to like overtime, I think, right?
Well,
or they actually,
the Lions, I think the last game of the season did beat the Packers.
yeah, the Packers played like full health too and stuff like
well,
that.
I think Packers, Aaron Rodgers played that first half, and in the second half they didn't play. And I think the Lions
didn't watch it, but I just remember that being a storyline. Everybody's like, "Oh crap, the Lions might beat the Packers," kind of situation. That was going to affect like the number 1 seed, number 2, like whatever seeding was going on. So I think if you look at this schedule and the way the NFL is building it, I could see every single one of these games having some way of affecting the playoff potential of it. Even the Giants, Eagles, Jets, Dolphins could have a potential to switch away in which a team is seated or maybe not even make it, like you said. So this could end up being the most exciting week of football, week 18, when it used to be one of the most least likely, except for like maybe one game that like decided everything. Now there's going to be 8 games that are going to decide the way everything's going to look. So I'm looking forward to that.
No, absolutely. I'm just glad football season's almost here. We have June to get through, which is the most boring month. There's no mini camp, training camp. Then July training camp starts, and then August preseason. We're basically almost only 2 months away for some football. I'm really excited about that. But thank you all for watching. Definitely hit that subscribe button. Definitely follow us on Twitter at 904 more, and go Jags.
Go Jags.